I'm John Noser, and this is Board Game Geek TV, and we're here at Essen Spiel 2012 with Roberto Di Maio. And this is Lord of the Ring. This is the expansion, Lords of Middle-earth, for the expansion of War of the Ring called Lords of Middle-earth. Sorry about stumbling over that a little bit. So how does this change the game?
Okay, there are several important new elements which are added to the game. The core of the expansion is based on new characters, which are the Elven Keepers, so Galadriel and Elrond, and also a new version of Gandalf the Grey, which is pictured as also as one of the three bearers of the Elven Rings.
Okay.
These three new characters are very important because they add new options to the free people player in terms, especially in terms of how the game starts. Because each of these characters, when it's added to the game, add a specific action die.
Okay.
So, for the free people player, in normal War of the Ring, the most important decision in the early game is whether should I get Gandalf the White in the game, should I get Aragorn in the game, because these characters are really important in stepping up and getting the additional action dice. Now we have additional options because in fact you can have Gandalf the Grey guiding the Fellowship, and when he's guiding the Fellowship, he brings in an additional die. So that's create an interesting choice about should I keep Gandalf as the guide of the Fellowship, maybe until the very end of the trip to the Fellowship to Mount Doom, or should I get Gandalf the White as soon as possible in the game? Now it's more of a difficult choice than it was before. Then for Elrond, you also have one additional action die which he brings in due to the power of his Elven Ring, and the same for Galadriel. So in the end, each of these dice is slightly different. They are not the same as the normal action dice that the free people player has available, and they add so additional choices in terms of how the free people player can step up in the War of the Ring.
Okay.
To balance this out, of course, we had
nice good things for the good side.
Yeah, sure. So we needed something for the bad guys as well. And so we have some of the characters which were previously featured in the Battles of the Third Age expansion for first edition of War of the Ring.
Okay.
Now we have them back in a revised edition that also applies to Galadriel, but also to other favorites like the Balrog, for example, and the Chief of the Ring Device. So these characters were already featured in the first edition expansion, but they have been revised completely for the second edition of War of the Ring. And also to mirror the mechanics of the Elden Ring, we have new mechanics because we have a new version of the Mouth of Sauron. Okay. We have a new, completely new character, which is Gothmog. And so Gothmog will add also a special action dice to the Shadow action dice pool, and the Balrog will also add his own specific action dice to the dice pool. So this somehow balance out to the new action dice.
You're adding some characters, but you're also changing some of the old characters to kind of spice things up, change things up a bit.
And that applies also to several characters. For example, Chief of the Ring Rights is a new version of the Witch King, and he's very important because he allows the Shadow player to pursue a strong corruption strategy, because he can be hunting the Fellowship in a very relentless way, and so bringing a lot of improvement to the chances of the Shadow player to corrupt the Ring Bearer. And we actually had a completely alternate version of all the characters of the Fellowship of the Ring that actually gives different idea about how they could interact with the Fellowship. Most of them represent the idea that these characters, rather than be staying with the Fellowship, they could be willing to go back to their homeland as soon as possible to help their people. And so they work in a different way. So they are weaker when inside the Fellowship, but stronger when outside the Fellowship. And actually they may start the game in their homeland. So you can have a Gimli which starts in Erebor, or a Boromir which starts in Gondor. So giving also, so there are a lot of different changes because the main limit of a game like War of the Ring is that it's a fixed setup, a fixed scenario game. Now, of course, we do not want to invent a different version of the war, but we created some what-ifs about the way characters could have been involved in the war, and to make these actually sort of a different setups for the two players.
So it opens up a lot more possibilities and things like that.
Yeah.
John, you see the minis on their side, right in between the good and the bad.
Yeah. Actually, we have,
these are really nice
two
miniatures.
two minis which were widely requested by War of the Ring owners, which are a miniature for Gandalf the White and a miniature for Aragorn as a king. And so these are sort of a bonus. They don't have any real use with the expansion. They're sort of an add-on for the basic game. Plus, we have the miniatures for all the new characters.
Well, there you go. Well, it's very exciting. I know this is a very popular game, and it sounds like it adds things and also kind of changes things up, allows you to explore some kind of what-if possibilities and not just follow what the book happens. So that's very exciting.
Just one small thing that I would like to add. We were considering the owners of War of the Ring Collector's Edition when creating this expansion, because there is a small component, the Smeagol tiles, which was added to this version of the game. So if you own a War of the Ring Collector Edition, you just need to get the upgrade kit for second edition, and then you can go and play with Lords of Middle-earth. And we are also working on a limited painted version, so that people who own the War of the Ring Collector Edition can actually get the Lords of Middle-earth in a painted edition that fits what they already own.
Cool.
Plus one more?
Oh, sure.
We have a Treebird promo. This, by the way, this will be available also on the Board Game Geek store, as well as here at Essen, together with purchases of Lords of Middle-earth. And this is Treebird.
So it looks like it's another mini and another character?
Yes, because Treebird was actually never featured in the game before as an individual character. Now it is possible to have him roaming in Fangorn and across Rohan and get him involved in the battles even more than before.
The trends are coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, thank you for showing us the game, and it looks like it's really exciting. So, do you know when this is going to be released in the U.S.?
It's just arrived in the docks, so we just have to go through customs and through the distribution system. It should be like a couple of weeks from now, should be in stores.
And what are we looking at for a price?
Price suggested retail is $29.90. So of course
Well, this should be hitting your shelves pretty soon, peoples, and very exciting.
Thank you.